supporters of Imran Khan's Justice Party began celebrating even as the election results were still coming out. In 2013, the party bagged the second highest number of votes but didn't form part of the government. This time, Khan appears destined for the Prime Minister's office and he's promising swift economic reforms.
We have to raise our governance standards, create a business-friendly environment, lower the cost of doing business and facilitate trade. I believe overseas Pakistanis are our biggest asset. We will improve governance and provide them opportunities to invest in this country.
The incoming government will inherit $215 billion in debt and a record high external deficit of $18 billion. The depleting coffers of the state will almost certainly force Islamabad to ask the International Monetary Fund for loans. And experts say economic reforms are needed to achieve financial independence.
Mobilizing tax revenues, cutting down on the subsidies and wasteful expenditure, restructuring and privatizing the state-owned enterprises which are losing money, creating comparative markets in energy sector. These are some of the essentials which will take time, but if they continue in this path, Pakistan will not have to go back to the IMF in the future.
But slashing subsidies would be politically difficult, and cutting government spending could put the new government at odds with powerful state institutions like the army. The country spent $8.8 billion on defense last year, 1/10 of total government spending. Pension funds run by the military own companies across a range of industries, including fertilizer and energy, that benefit from state subsidies. And they administer some of the country's most expensive residential areas that could be impacted if tax collection on properties is stepped up. Khan's party appears to be rising to power with a heavy mandate. It will now be racing against time to push through tough reforms before its political capital runs out. Mobin Nasir, TRT World.
Joining me now from London is Ayesha Siddiqa. She's a research associate at the School of Oriental and African Studies, South Asia Institute, and she's the author of Military Inc. Inside Pakistan's Military Economy. Ayesha, it's wonderful having you on the show. Thank you for joining us. I'll get to the issue of the military's role in Pakistan in a moment, but I want to talk about Imran Khan's priority list. At the top of that priority list seems to be wanting to get Pakistanis abroad to invest back into Pakistan. Why is that such a priority for him?
I think that's where he's very strong. He believes he has his attraction outside amongst Pakistani expatriates. Especially Pakistani expatriates feel that he's charismatic, he's the man who will change Pakistan, will make Pakistan different, so they will be proud to introduce themselves as Pakistani in the outside world wherever they live. And they are willing, and you know, Pakistan dual nationals, Pakistani expatriates, all very patriotic people, inside and outside. So they will be happy to give money, and especially to a man whom they think they can trust. So that's why, that's something that he knows how to do.
Right. Meanwhile,
more than anything else.
Right. As we've been saying, Pakistan is suffering a huge budget deficit. He's talked about reining in spending. Is he laying the groundwork, do you think, for an approach to the IMF for a bailout?
I would say that, you know, he'll begin to do that. That's probably his intention, to cut costs. But as you mentioned in your introduction, was that I mean, is it going to be defense spending? I don't think so. It'll basically be civilian departments, the civilian government, which will be monitored, which will be controlled. And that will be a signal to...
Oh, bless you. Oh, bless you.
Sorry. Sorry about that.
No problem.
It will be a signal to the International Monetary Fund that Pakistan is really putting its money where its mouth is. It's very tricky to kind of discipline, restructure public sector, huge public sector organizations like like the Pakistan International Airlines, Pakistan Railways, etc. In the past, privatizing these organizations was a bit tricky because it was kind of immediately seen as being devoured by corrupt leaders. Now with him, I think he might take that risk.
Okay. Ayesha, let's get to the issue of the military. You mentioned it there. It is a major part of Pakistan. It always has been, right from the start. Just how big an influence is it in the corporate sphere in Pakistan?
Well, the military is one of the huge business groups in huge business interests. I mean, group is not the right word. There are about 5 welfare foundations, like in Turkey. But here they run everything from education to manufacturing, cement, fertilizer, which is very important. They almost have a monopoly in fertilizer manufacture. They're into production of meat. They have farms. They've got, I mean, it's an array. They're into oil and gas as well. And they are now signing some international partnerships. For example, they have a partnership with UAE. So they are big in Pakistan.
Okay. Okay, so, but the military in other parts of the world, like the US, the UK, France, defense spending forms a big part of the economy there as well. Why is it different in Pakistan?
Well, because military is politically powerful, and its big economic role is not because of its needs, because its needs are fulfilled by the government. The pensions are paid by the government, the pays are given by the government. It's because of its political power that it thought it could do certain things. It wanted to contribute to the development of the country, but that's one of the reasons. But primary reason was power. They think they're powerful enough to do anything. They can get the nation the star and the moon, that kind of an image, self-created image about the military.
Right. Khan says that he's going to be tough on corruption. How likely do you think that he's going to be able to do that?
At the end of the day, I believe it's a matter of how he juggles his interests. There were people around him. I mean, the reason he's managed to get about 122 seats in the National Assembly is primarily because of juggling with different people, different interests. And he's got electables on board. Now, electables is a term used for people who don't stick to any ideology, but who move from one party to the other because of their predatory interests, political interests.
Okay.
Now, these people would definitely want something from him.
Okay.
So how is he going to pressurize them?
Right. Ayesha, I'm afraid we are out of time, but I would love to carry on this conversation. Ayesha Siddiqa from SOAS in London. Thank you.